everybody? This is Will Marsh from the Will's Ward podcast. I'm over here with Aaron and Luke, and we have also some cool people here with us in the crowd. Tonight we have a very, very special episode for you guys with somebody by the name of Corey Clagett. Corey is a good friend of mine who I've known for a few years now, who if you Google you'll see a lot about. But I also don't want to steal too much of his thunder right now. We're waiting to get him on the line as we get this video started. And if you're just joining us now on the audio version of this podcast, this is the Will's World series. Guys, I'm Will Marsh, your host, and I'm here with
Luke Smith
and
Aaron Alexander.
What's up, y'all? So we are doing this episode today from Wilson's Mills, and this is actually a special episode. We have people in different locations. But Corey Clagett is going to be joining us. Corey is a war hero from the Iraqi War and spent at least one tour over there and has a really incredible story to tell. So we're waiting for him to get on the line right now, which is what we're doing. And let me see if I can get him for us. Alright, I just texted him again. He should be there any minute. But in the meantime, while we wait on him, I was mentioning, I will kind of go into how we kind of came about to this. So I mentioned he was a war hero, and how I actually got to know this guy, back when I ran my insurance agency when I lived in Guilford County in Greensboro. I came home one day after work, and on the evening news, on the national news, it was the headline that night on Fox News. Now, I don't remember what time of year it was, to be exact. I know it was warm outside, but in the meantime, I saw this headline about this person who had been, it was a war hero in Iraq, part of the Iron Triangle murders, which if you were a news buff in the early 2000s, you may have remembered that. Who was just released from a wrongful imprisonment pardon in prison and had this whole story. And so I looked him up, and he was about 10 minutes away from where I lived, and so I sent him a Facebook message, and he messaged me back, I mean, instantly, and so we hit it off from there. But let me, before I go too much further, see if we can get him on the line again.
And while we're doing that, I'm really excited for this one. You know, it's not every day that you get to talk to a war vet, especially one who's gone through all the things that Corey has. You know, being in North Carolina, it's like getting to talk to a superhero, low key. You know, we're looking forward to it. How about you, Luke?
Yeah, honestly, I can't wait. I think it's gonna be awesome. He has a pretty good story, and I'm just ready for it to unfold, you guys.
Yeah, thank y'all. What's been new this week with you guys while we're waiting on him? I'm sending him the link again. It took him a moment when we were getting this set up.
We got big news over on this side. I mean, I just spent a week out in Nashville, Tennessee. That was amazing. You know, I love North Carolina, but our neighbors next door, they kind of got some stuff going on. No mask mandate across the state. It was wonderful being able to see people smile.
So where all did you visit, you said?
I hit Nashville, and then we spent a decent amount of time in Murfreesboro. You know, outside of doing this, I work with Clagett, and so we got a content house out there. Spent some time with Bryson Gray, Danielle Ray, Shekinah Ruth, you know, all the people, you know, coming up in the conservative movement right now. So it's been hot. We got some photo shoots done, did a little bit of music. It was a time.
That sounds fun. How long were y'all gone for?
We were gone for a week, heading back out there soon, get some more work done.
I saw you doing a photo shoot, man. When's the photos gonna drop?
I think the first photos dropped yesterday. We're going to have...
Hey, I hate to interrupt, Aaron, but I just saw that Corey joined us. Are you there, Corey? Awesome, man. We are glad to have you. We were kind of talking while we were waiting on you to join the call about how you and I met years ago after you had headlined on Fox News, and how I had looked you up and saw that you were only about 10 minutes away from where I lived on Facebook, and how impressed I was, and I shot you a message at like midnight, and you wrote like right back, and so you are an on-point man. We went to the Olive Garden. You're right. So, Corey, I appreciate you getting on this. I don't want to steal your thunder, man, but you're here with all of us. We have some people that are with us watching this, and then I'm here with my two hosts, Luke Smith and Aaron Alexander.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
Yeah. So let me we kind of sort of introduced you as we were talking about you a moment ago, but I just kind of mentioned about how we met and how you had an incredible story. I'm sure people watching this or listening to this may have Googled your name by this point, but if you would, tell us a little bit about you and kind of how you became to be you and all this. Yeah, oh, we're still here. You've got us all. I mean, listening, man.
Okay, so I'll keep going. So I was with my unit for a couple of months. We got orders in August that we were deploying to Iraq. So I only had 3 or 4 months with my unit, which is very long to train with them and earn trust and give trust. And so we deployed September 16th, 2005, and we went to Kuwait for 2 weeks. Well, I'm pretty sure you probably know about Kuwait. You have to acclimatize and all that, just get used to the environment over there. So we were in Kuwait for 2 weeks, and I went to Baghdad, where we provided bomb security for the 3rd Infantry Division, and all we did was stay in the towers, and that's where I got my combat instruments badge. We took fire on one of the towers, and so it was okay. Stuff didn't hit the fan until we went to Samara in December, like right before Christmas Day. That's when, we were patrolling IED Valley or Tomato Center Road. And we were constantly when I was doing it. The next week there were QRF, next week there were a couple of missions. And it just, the cycle kept rotating, so you didn't have any days off, really. You were working 12, 14-hour days in the sun, and you come back and you gotta do PT and all that stuff. So it was very draining. And it was exciting, I'll tell you that much. And so to get into the story, my commander for 3187, Charlie Company, my brigade commander was Colonel Michael Steele, who was in Black Hawk Down, his character was, and he was the actual bald guy in the movie. That was the asshole.
That sounds like a hard ass that would be in Black Hawk Down. Colonel Michael Steele. Oh, sorry, we're getting some feedback here. Let me turn that down.
Everybody in the brigade with this big blow-up ball on a football field, and
how?
No, he was a hard dude. His standards were very high, so he kept us well trained and well PT'd. But we got a notice that we were going on this really secretive mission that was coming up, and we had to go to Ramadi, and we were stationed there with the Iraqi army, and Colonel Steele shows up late at night, and he pulls everybody together, and he gets on top of a Humvee away from the Iraqi army. He tells us that we have this mission that we're going on that expects everybody's not to make it, expect maybe some of you are going to make it. We're going in guns blazing. We're going to have the squad machine gunners hanging out the Blackhawks and open fires are coming in because it's going to be nothing. He's like, your rules of engagement for this mission is to kill all military Israelis. He's like, kill them before they kill you, give them a 100% chance to die for their country. And so we're all hyped up, and I actually wrote down a will because I thought this was going to be one of the most serious engagements I've been in. So I wrote a will.
Wait, hang on. You're saying that before you went on this mission that caused all of this that we're about to hear about, you were so scared that you even wrote a will out for yourself?
Well, I wouldn't say it was scared because I've been in some dicey situations. It was more I wanted to be prepared if something did happen. I want my family to have the insurance policy where it goes and what have you. So I was just being prepared.
That's smart. Okay, sorry.
But anyway, so the next morning, we did dry fire exercises with the Blackhawks, getting in and out of them, and figuring out where we're going to be in station one. And so that morning, like 5 o'clock in the morning, we got in the Chinooks, and we traveled to our destination where we met up with the Blackhawks. And we got on there, and we did one mission prior, and that was we had this big field. There was a little hut on it, and so we recon by fire over the field. And when we got to the end of the field, there was a large canal, and these 3 guys, no weapons, nothing, in a boat, running away. And all of a sudden they called down Apache. Apache comes in and dusts them immediately. I mean, there was no threat whatsoever, and they just dust them. And so when they happened, the LT come up to us, and he's like, hey, I need 3rd squad, but 2nd squad providing overwatch. And he's like, you gotta hurry right now. And so we boarded the Blackhawk, and we fly for about 5 minutes, and we circle around these 4 buildings, and we hear ourselves in. As soon as we get off the bird, we start taking fire, and we return fire, and as we're running up there.
Wait, hang on, Corey. I know this is a crucial point in the story, but you talk about this as it's like just another day at the office. Oh yeah, we just circled around in the Blackhawks and air assaulted in, and returned fire. It was no big deal.
Yeah, it's because I've told this, I relive the worst day of my life every time I tell it, but it is getting easier to tell because I kind of compartmentalize and disassociate when I talk about it. So it's just matter of fact when I start to talk about it. So, I've done a lot of interviews, so it's getting easier.
Sure. Well, sorry. Please resume. I didn't mean to interrupt. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, interrupt if you have questions, comments, anything, interrupt, feel free. But so, as soon as we button hook around the side of the building, we come upon a door and we kick it in, and immediately what we see is these 3 guys huddled down behind these 2 women, using them as shields so we wouldn't shoot them. And, would have been legally justified to kill the women to get to our target. I mean, that's wrong, and within a split second, we're like, well, you gonna shoot the women, so we detained the 3 men, and when we pulled them out, by the way, the guy that was shooting at us, I was a 4th person in that house. He was mortally wounded, dragged out, CPR was applied, first aid, but he just didn't make it. So when we pulled the 3 detainees out, we saw there was another building over a berm, and so we assaulted that, and this was actually on RE Times. It was on the website where it showed our machine gunner laying fire right over top of the building, and my team assaulting this little area, and it shows this guy coming out holding a baby out in front of him so we wouldn't shoot him. And so when we lower our weapons to shoot him in the abdomen, he'd lower the baby, and he'd raise the baby every time we'd go back up and shoot him in the head. And because it followed our rules of engagement. But my squad leader's like, hey, take the baby and get him. And I can't remember if it was me or the other guy, my so-called co-defendant, took the baby and we detained him. This is where it gets weird. We've die, we never take the bodies. We leave it up to the family, and we never body bag them ever. And so when we bring the fourth guy over with the three, I'm standing right next to my squad leader in the LT when I hear over the radio my squad leader reporting, hey, we have 4 EPWs, which is enemy prisoners of war, and 1 KIA, which is killed in action. And over the radio I hear, why the F do you have detainees? You need to hurry up. You have a follow-on mission in 5 minutes. And what that means is that, the squad leader looked at us and he's like, third squad, rally up. And so we go in the house and he's like, all right, this is what Commander said, who wants to do it? And nobody volunteered anything. And so my squad leader selected myself and another guy, an untaker, to cut the zip ties off of these guys and kill them. Well, my mentality was, look, I was already tired. It was so hot over there. I've been up for a long time. I was like, you know what, just whatever. And I thought I was also following my rules of engagement.
Protecting Americans.
What'd you say?
You're protecting Americans. In your head.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because these guys were confirmed bomb makers, and the CIA and Special Forces went in and got pushed out. So they requested a large element. That's why we were there. So they already had an engagement firefight and were pushed out. So that they were definitely confirmed. All those people were confirmed. It was a terrorist training compound, is what we assaulted. And so, with that added in there and following my rules of engagement, I'm like, okay, well, it's not a big deal. And so I personally cut the zip ties off and the blindfold and told them to run, and we shot them. Again, after that, we were cleared 3 times of an investigation, and a 4th investigation happened with CID, which is like the equivalent to the FBI.
Okay, so Corey, to butt in again real quick. So you were told to take the zip tie, because I know this is the crucial moment that changed everything. You were told to cut the zip ties off and cut their blindfolds off. They ran, and then when you had the order, you pulled the trigger, and how many was it?
I killed, I couldn't even tell you how many I killed because they crossed, and I had the machine gun, so I was firing faster than the other guy who only had an M4, so I don't know, there was
That's such an American answer. I love that. But no, okay, you were saying?
So yeah, I want to back up just a little bit. Before we had the investigation, when we were told to bag up the bodies, so we bagged up the bodies. Remind you, there's no zip ties because I personally cut them off. No zip ties, no blindfolds. We bagged up the bodies, brought it to the Black Hawk we were supposed to board up on, and he's like, no, we want the bodies, not you guys. And we're like, well, that's odd. So we give them the bodies. They fly them to command, and it's strange because at command, when they unzipped the body bag, they were zip tied and blindfolded again. So that's what caused the initial investigation, which again I was cleared 3 times. And then a 4th one happened, and this time, they asked us who gave us the rules of engagement, and we're like, well, our commander did, Colonel Michael Steele, and they were like, no, he didn't. And at that point, I was like, say what? And I had a defense attorney who was a lesbian, not saying anything's wrong with that, but at a time where the military didn't allow that. So I have a defense attorney who's breaking the military law and representing me, but all of a sudden I don't hear anything from him, but my first sergeant was running interference. Every time CID kept calling for me and calling for us, he's like, they don't want to talk to you. He kept hanging up. Well, it got so serious because he was running interference and not letting us know that one day all of a sudden a Black Hawk showed up. They're like, we need these guys. And so we went, and all of a sudden we showed up, and the guy's like, hey, what happened? I was like, I looked at my attorney, she's like, he's not talking. And then I was charged with murder, and that phone call to my parents was really hard. She just immediately started crying, like really, really bad. I told her, my attorney talked to her and said, hey, I could face the death penalty for these executions, is the word she used. So we were housed in Clagett, which is Dom's hometown, for about a month, and then I was transferred to a Navy-ran military prison or jail in Kuwait, and that's where things started taking a turn for the worse. I wasn't being fed for a couple of days, like I wasn't allowed break. They were, doing laundry. I couldn't make phone calls. A guard wrote a sworn statement that the commander there ordered them to spend my food, and the only reason that came to light is because I found a big loogie in my yams, and I raised Cain about it. And he wrote a sworn statement, and they ended up transferring him back to the States and demoted him, and he still stands by me to this day. And but yes, that was the start of it. And work. So when I finally went to Fort Leavenworth on September 16th, they put me on suicide watch right away. Fort Knox. They put me on suicide watch right away in a paper gown. And I was in disciplinary segregation there too.
So
It's just, and they wouldn't even let me see my family because I filed a hygiene complaint. So my family travels 10 hours to see me. They let me see them for 30 minutes.
So, Corey, where's the oversight here? It sounds like, you know, there's just mismanagement all over the place from your commanding officers to the people who we're supposed to be. You know, when we see someone end up in a situation like yours, you would think that if you're imprisoned, even those people are going to be getting some kind of humane interaction, but it sounds like there's none of that there. You know, where does the accountability come in this situation?
Well, here's the thing: when you have one person doing wrong, and it tarnishes the overall perspective of the organization, his butt's going to be covered, and then the guy who covered him is going to be covered. So there is no accountability whatsoever within the military, especially within the corrections department of the military. You know, they have to abide by some laws, which is, you know, cruel and unusual punishment, because a judge can overturn or reduce your sentence off of that. But when it comes to like administrative or little nitpick things like this, like there's no real way to prove it, and so many people complain about it. It's nothing special, even if it is special. So nobody really cares to hear it. So it just falls on deaf ears.
Yeah, man, that's just it's horrible to hear something like that. You know, we look at our from even down all the way to law enforcement, all the way up to those of you who have served in our military in the highest esteem, and so we would like to hear better than that. But thank you for bringing things like that to light. I would have never known until reading your story.
It's nothing. I tried, but then like Fort Leavenworth to change policy with that, because the regulation is called 190-47 of the Provost Marshal General, but I'm not so well versed in the regulation, by the way. I know it very well. So, you know, all this is happening at Fort Knox, and then they put my crime partner in Charleston Naval Brig. Well, I'm from Charleston, and they did that on purpose. And there was a jail which would have been 15 minutes away from Fort Campbell, and so they chose to drive me 3 hours one way, 3 hours the other. And so when I got to that county jail, I was like, I'm not going back there. I'm just not going back. And so they allowed me to stay in county, and that's when everybody in my unit, and for some reason, one by one, they started to say, oh, the rules of engagement were to kill all military males unless actively surrendering, and which was total BS. And everybody, one by one, was scared from an administrative punishment because you're not allowed pornography when you're in a combat environment. And so they were scared of losing rank. They chose to save themselves and sacrifice my life, basically, and testified, wrote sworn statements against me. I didn't have a single person on my side, and the first guy turned on me and said, yeah, we did this, and then my squad leader chimes up, hey, I was just trying to help them cover it up. And so I was backed into a corner, and right before I went and saw my attorney, I even called a local news network in South Carolina. I was like, hey, I feel backed into a corner. I got no choice but to plead guilty. And the prosecution tried to use that against me. But my civilian attorney, Paul Bergeron, he was indicted by the FBI at one of my court proceedings and arrested for helping. What's that?
There's nothing on our end.
We didn't say anything.
Okay, I thought I heard something.
No, you're good. You were talking about how you were in prison and the phase of, you know, the terrible incarceration.
Right. So my attorney was pulled off my case and indicted by the FBI. He's now serving 6 consecutive life sentences, by the way. So he was pulled off my case. The judge wouldn't allow me to extend my period of time at all. So I had no choice but to plead guilty. And I was given 18 years. I only had to do 6, but when I got to Leavenworth, I immediately went to disciplinary segregation again. It was like a repeat. And so they kept me in there the entire time, and I was getting written up because I get 50, 60 pieces of mail a day, and the limit for DSEG is 10. And so they give me my mail, and let me go through it, pull me out for a cell inspection, and then write me up for excessive mail, for aggravated robbery, what have you. And this was every single day. So, you know, they write me up for a miss Buster attacking my cell, for
it sounds clearly intentional. Now, as someone who is inside, you went through all of this. You clearly learned a lot from it. What would be the steps that could be taken to try to right these wrongs and to keep the next person from ending up in this type of situation?
Well, that's the thing. My parents were spreading the word tremendously on what was going on in this justice to get people not to join. And, I ended up working for an organization where we helped 3 military service members get presidential pardons. So I'm doing the best I can with that.
So Corey, that's actually what we'd love to talk with you about. But to get there, so how did you get from this prison? You told us last. I know you were at Leavenworth, and then so how did you get from Leavenworth to Freedom to doing these kinds of things that you're doing today and working with that organization?
Well, that organization supported me about halfway through the 10 years I did. And I just one day, I wasn't having any job prospects. When I was coming up for parole, nobody really wanted to commit to hire somebody they'd never met. So I just asked him one day on the phone, I was like, "Are you hiring?" He's like, "Yeah, I am." And so it went from there. I made plans to move directly to Cartersville, North Carolina, instead of come back home to Charleston, South Carolina, and everything just hit off from that point. So, yeah, my responsibilities were, I was the community and veterans liaison, so my job was brand awareness, get out there and attend speaking events, and just spread the word about the injustice that's going on. And I was fairly successful with it. We got 3 people pardoned, so.
All right, that's
Wow,
amazing.
nice.
That's amazing.
Congratulations on that, Corey. So now, if somebody were to Google your name, Corey Clagett, there's a lot that comes up. Since you've been out and working with this organization, you've been doing, TV, news, radio, media, all kinds of stuff. Tell us a little bit about some of those opportunities and the stuff that you've been working on since this pardon through this organization.
Well, the part I'm working on for myself right now is with United Services League. They're actually helping me right now. But yeah, it's hit or miss with the media. Some of them seem like they really care, and then they turn around and write a completely different story. So I'm not very trustful with the media, but I'll take it.
I wouldn't be if I were you. Well, speaking for everybody here on the team, we are fully on your side and are supportive of you in this. I'll tell everybody on this. I did this with Corey before we did this interview, like I do with anybody, where and I learned this from Oprah actually, but where we talked, and Corey and I talked before we did this interview actually. And I told Corey, I told Corey our intentions, or my intentions of doing this, which is to find as many interesting people and stories and share them for the greater good, because I think they're interesting and people should hear them. And then, Corey told me his objective, and then we wanted to see how we could help each other do that. So I thought he had an interesting story. And, your objective with this, I think, is pure. We only, certainly want to help you with that, and hope that as many people as possible get the opportunity and privilege to hear this interview. So.
Well, I appreciate that, Will. Any publicity is good publicity, so it's just we need people to sign petitions with the United Services League to send to now President Biden in hopes that he will give me a pardon, because all I care about is my honor being restored. I don't care about anything else. Just my honor being restored is what I care about.
I hear that.
Yeah. Now, I know we're on a time crunch. I don't want to go too much longer, but Corey, you were telling me when we spoke in the past that you had just had the opportunity to go testify in front of Congress in Washington, D.C. recently for the sake of your cause. That's whether it's a few congressmen or one congressman or the whole Congress or whatever, that's a huge deal. And I think it's worth noting, which is why I wanted to ask you about it here with everybody.
Oh, yeah, it was, I believe it was April of 2018. I'm not too sure about the date, but yeah, there was a congressman and I believe aides from other congressmen's office who sit there and record notes and what we and myself were talking about. was very harrowing and exciting. But I will say this: one of the congressmen from Tennessee was like, I went through the easy pass without having a pass on the toll, and he's like, "Hey, if we get pulled over, just tell him you're with congressman." So that was pretty cool.
Just that easy, man. Just that easy.
That easy.
So, go ahead, Aaron.
So yeah, Corey. Like what was saying, our time's winding down, but I do want to make sure that we're able to extend our platform as far as we can to you. So with everything that you're doing, where can people find out more, find out how they can help you?
I believe they can go to UnitedServicesLeague.com, and it's a 501c3, which means it's tax deductible nonprofit. So they can go there and they can find out all the information they need to that's up to date in regards to myself seeking a pardon.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that.
Great. We appreciate that, Corey. I'm gonna bring Luke back in real quick. I know he had a question for you as well, Corey.
Yeah, I was thinking earlier, aren't you about to have a movie made about you?
Oh, I cannot talk about that.
That means there's a deal signed and in the works if you can't talk about it.
No,
All
I
right.
love NDAs. They always mean something
Yes. All right. We will respect your privacy and we'll ask everybody else to do the same. But that tells us enough, Corey.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right. Well, this has been awesome. The one thing I do want to add before we go, just so everybody can hear, guys, if you are just now listening to this as your first episode, or if you've been following Aaron or Luke or myself for any amount of time and have been familiar with this series, we have been so excited about Corey and what he's doing that we've actually signed a deal ourselves that we also can't talk about the details of. For him to come in partnership with us. So he will be on with us for several episodes this season, talking about what he's doing and more of his work. And so we intentionally capped this at half an hour today because we didn't want to spoil everything. But certainly stay tuned to hear about, I don't know, I almost don't want to finish that thought. I want to let you finish it for me and kind of what what we're excited about with you in the future, Corey.
Yeah, so, just, I'm looking forward to spreading the information out there, and, I get to work with my friend Will, who I haven't seen in a long time, so I got
You do need to come up here. So yeah, we need to talk about that. We'll talk about it next episode. We'll release a date.
Okay.
So we appreciate it, Corey. Do you have anything else for us before we go, or anything else that you'd like for the world to hear?
At first I'd like to thank y'all for having me on there, and again, if everybody that has listened, talk to a family member or a neighbor and get them to go to UnitedServicesLeague.com and sign a digital, I believe they have a digital petition, or ask for a paper petition, and mail that back. They'd be great, I appreciate it.
Awesome. And that's United Services League?
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, our listeners, they've heard that. I'm sure that they will be typing away, getting onto that petition. We want to see as many signatures as we can on that, just so that we can help out Corey and all of those people who may have or are going through that same thing. One injustice is too many, so we want to make sure that we can do all that we can to help those in need.
Thank you for that.
Oh.
Hey, actually, I want to make a correction. It's Uniform Services League. Excuse me.
Uniform Services League.
Yes.
All right. Correction noted. It's on the books. We got that Uniform Services League.
Yep, that's it.
All right, Corey, we appreciate it, man. We're excited about everything that we're going to be doing together in our next episodes. We're going to wrap this up here for a close. But tell us, you're on social media, right?
Yes, I am.
If people want to add you, where do they go to add you, or what's your username, or what? Can you give us that real quick?
It's Corey Clagett on Facebook, and I'm the guy that's wearing a hat. So
we love hats.
I was locked out.
We love hats. All right, that helps us. You heard it from there, Corey Clagett on Facebook. Or you can check any of us out on Facebook, Luke Smith, Aaron Alexander, me, Will Marsh, or on Instagram at will.marsh1, Twitter at Will's World Audio, or on YouTube at Will's World Audio. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next episode. Can you go ahead and stop on the video? Actually, no. Everybody come in here for the video.
Everybody
so
get
we
in
can see
here.
everybody that's here, and we can take a still picture of it before we hit end.
We're going to get that still. We're gonna get
Everybody gets
everybody
credit for
in.
being here.
If you're watching
Hey,
us,
Jordan.
on
Hey, Jordan.
YouTube,
Come here, Jordan.
on the visuals, you can follow me at Aaron Alexander on Instagram. At Aaron is online on Twitter. That is your boy. That's me.
Where do we find you?
Luke Smith on everything.
There we go.
It's such
How is anybody gonna know who y'all are and where to find you guys if y'all hide from the camera?
Look
Come
like
slide
My man
on
here
in.
is
This is a family affair. I hear horns. We got the
horns.
honking.
There's sirens. They're picketing out there. No, not really. We're kidding. All right, it's a lame crowd. We're gonna end this video. Can you go ahead,
All
stop?
right.
Thanks, my man.
We're out of here, man.